wouldn't be, it wouldn't be fair to them.
Nope, I get it.
But Jeff's car is, I got to build a front axle. I thought it just bent the front axle. We got the front axle out of it, and it's got a kink in it, so that'll mean a new front axle. And of course, that car's, you can't buy a front axle for it. I've got to make it. It's that old beast, and that just doesn't.
Bobby, would you like a bottle of water?
Please. And so you just gotta build a front axle. And Mikey blew up on Saturday night, and we got to do something about getting a motor in his car. And
Gotcha.
it's you know about the short week, and how that goes.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm ready.
I hate to interrupt you guys' conversation, but anyway, hey, welcome race fans to the Works Local Racing Roundup. We are glad to have you with us here tonight. And man, Bobby, we've got some winners with us here tonight.
Yeah, you do.
By the way, Bobby Lane sitting in here. Bobby was going to be a commentator and help me ask questions and kind of grill Chris about this win because he wants to know more about that race car you're running, I think, Chris.
Oh, it's just something we found laying around out in the street.
Yeah, yeah, buddy.
But anyway, we have got the winner of the Power Eye Lightning Sprint Nationals that just took place down at CMS Sunday night, and Chris Crowder from Colorado Springs, Colorado won that. And congratulations, Chris. I know you've probably been living high just about all week, haven't you?
This has been an awesome week. Thanks for having me on, first off, Mike. I greatly appreciate it. It was an honor to meet you Sunday night and be introduced to you. So thank you very much for having us on.
Absolutely. We love winners around here. I don't know how else to say it. In fact, you just about have to win to get on this program. And it's just kind of one of the things that, everybody loves a winner, I guess. But like I say, man, you just got to have been living on cloud nine this past week knowing that you won that. I mean, that has to be, well, Bobby, you can answer to this. You race around the country too, but that has to be one of the biggest races for Lightning Sprints that has happened in the United States.
I would put it right up there, wouldn't you, Chris? I mean, we had
Absolutely.
a good field of cars. I mean, it paid well. Was really good racing. Chris had us covered though. I mean, his car was on a rail,
Yeah.
and I mean everything that he did right. And I can't say enough. I wished I'd have figured out what he did and I'd have stayed out of the wreck. But sometimes that happens.
Yeah, but like I say, that's got to make a guy from Colorado feel pretty good because Colorado's not exactly the capital of dirt track racing.
Absolutely. It's been great, and Bobby's right. I mean, what we went to, the Nationals, the Power Eye Nationals, and what Power Eye has done for Lightning Sprints, it's just gone above and beyond. I mean, now we have cars that across the country are equal or are playing by the same rules that, I can race in Minnesota, I can race in Missouri, I can race in California, and everybody's car is on the same playing field. And, that's just really cool to be able to be part of something like that.
While we're kind of on that topic right now, where do you race locally there? Where, if a guy owned a Lightning Sprint and lived there in the Colorado Springs area, where would you go to race?
So we have 3 tracks here locally, if you will. El Paso County Speedway is about 18 miles, 19 miles away from Colorado Springs. And that's kind of our home track, if you will. Also to mention I-76 Speedway, which is just northeast of Denver, about 75, 78 miles. So those are our 2 most popular tracks that we race at. From there, we'll go to Pueblo, which is just south of Colorado Springs by about 40 miles. And then Holyoke, that's actually this weekend. We'll be racing. That's about 200 miles away from Colorado Springs, but it's a really fun track, big 3/8 mile, just a lot of side-by-side racing there.
And what town is that in?
Holyoke, Colorado.
I have never heard of that. Where is it?
It's probably about 30 miles just west of the Kansas City, Nebraska border.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll be darned. Well, I'll have to check that out, Bobby. There you go. Maybe that could be racetrack number 178.
Actually, I'm at I'm at 176 now, and when we go to the 4 new ones, and Chris is probably going to go up there in August with Jason Berg's group, and I'm going to get 4 new ones, so I'm going to be at 180.
Yeah. How many cars, Chris, are there in? Well, I should have said that better. How many lightning sprints do you think there are in Colorado? Do you guys have a group that travels around, or is it just kind of a local track thing?
Oh, no. We have the Rocky Mountain Lightning Sprints as our organization that's sanctioned by PowerRide. And I think registered members right now, we probably have 28, somewhere around there, maybe close to 30. But, I mean, that doesn't do justice about how many cars we have here locally. I bet you there's 70, 80 cars just in the state of Colorado that are just sitting in guys' garage or just not being used. And we try to get those guys out as best we can. But it's actually a pretty big market if we get everybody to come together and get their cars out and race.
Yeah. Now, we've got a picture up here right now. If you are watching this, everything's going to be about 30 seconds behind us, okay?
Okay.
But we've got a picture up here right now, and I believe the gentleman has got a sign or something there, and I believe it says Southwest Lightning Sprints. Now, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, that's my crew chief, Jason Duncan. Last year we went out, and there's so many stories to go with that. But last year we went out, we raced with the Brent Sexton and the Southwest Lightning Sprints out in California at Verona Speedway. And it was just the way the whole COVID thing happened, with us not being able to race here very much. Him and I just took a trip out there to go race because they started racing in March. And we went out there, we won that race, and we came home and still no racing. And so it was like, let's go back out there again and race another one. So we went back out and raced another one, did really well. And before you know it, we were running for points both here locally in Colorado, and then we would drive out to California 1,100 miles just to race one day and then come back home. And so ultimately we ended up winning the Southwest Lightning Sprint Championship last year and the Rocky Mountain Lightning Sprint here.
Wow.
Locally last year.
So this boy brought some credentials to the race.
Yeah, I knew that he was going to be tough to beat when before he left Colorado. I mean, I've raced with Chris several times, and he's one of the guys that you have to go beat.
Yeah.
And he brought his A game.
Absolutely. From what I saw, I was only there that one night and seen, I think, 3 races. They had 2 B mains and heat races.
Yeah.
But
he crashed on Saturday night.
Oh, he crashed on Saturday.
So he don't need to be riding me too hard about crashing on Sunday.
Thanks, Bobby.
What are those deals, Chris, where you just got caught up, I presume? We'll blame it on somebody else?
The tractor tire
no
bit
big
his
deal.
ass.
Saturday was just, trying to get a feel for the track, make sure everything was right, stay out of trouble. And, of course, we got caught up in a little bit of trouble at the end of the race. But, tore up a top link, tore up a couple radius rods. But we were able to get it back together for Sunday.
Yeah, we've got another picture up here, and those are chain guides or something, aren't they?
Front hubs.
Bobby? Oh, front hubs? Okay.
No, they're rear hubs.
Okay. But it looks like they made a trophy out of that. Now, was this the Southwest or the Rocky Mountain deal that you won here?
That was the Southwest Lightning Sprints. Yeah, Brent Sexton kind of came up with that idea, and he took all his old race parts that he had trashed over the years or broke or whatever, and he made these trophies with them, and it was really cool for him to do something like that. But, that was Brent Sexton and the Southwest Lightning Sprints.
Yeah, those are pretty nice looking. Now, we're talking about a lot of winning that's going on here, I mean, with these championships and this stuff. What I want to know is how many years is it taking you in racing to reach this milestone in your career where you're starting to win these kind of races? When did you first start out, and what class or whatever did you start out racing in?
Well, I started racing, drag racing back in high school through our vocational auto class. But after that, I went to the military, and I really couldn't afford to do much racing, so I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, and I got back out. Then, just kind of putting 2 and 2 together, trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, and found myself in trucking. And it was funny because a guy that I used to, travel with me, him and I would, travel across country. He told me, he says, I run lightning sprints. I'm like, what's a lightning sprint? And he said, you'll have to come out and check it out one of these times. So long story short, I went out and I watched him. It was at I-76 Speedway in 2004. And I saw him go around, and I don't think he did very well. I think he finished maybe 10th or 11th or something like that. But when I saw that, I was like, I got to have one of those. That looks so fun. So in 2005, I went and bought my first car for $3,000, and just started growing and kept growing from there. So that's when I started.
Yeah, you almost sound like Bobby. Bobby has a similar experience to that, other than a friend asked him to drive his car. And had you been out of racing there for a while?
No, I was winding down, and Chris Schofield, which you know, Chris, and asked me to drive his car at the indoor race at Kemper Arena. And I drove his car down there for 2 days, and I said, whoa, I got to have one. And I got one.
Yeah,
and been doing it ever since.
Well, and like he says, somebody's career winding down and found these things, and you can tell just about any time you talk to him about it, his face kind of lights up. I mean, he's really having a great time, Chris. So, I hate to use this term, saved a racer's career.
Yeah, it really did.
But it brought him back to life because, just like me and my boys were talking here earlier, we've got a Kansas City racing legend here with us tonight.
Yeah, right. So what did you think of CMS, Chris? What when it come to that track, what do you compare that to that you race on a regular basis?
Well, I hate to say it, there's not much out here that we can compare that to. Just when we get back to Missouri and places back where you guys are at, it's just so different. I was really surprised that it actually opened up to 2 grooves because we really don't see a whole lot of that here. But that track on Sunday night is kind of what a racer's racetrack is.
Yeah.
When you can move around the track and you run around the top or run through the middle or run down the bottom, that's what we all look for. Yeah. And it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Well, and we're only 600 miles away. I mean, you can come anytime you want to. If you're willing to drive 1,100 to go to California.
But like I told Chris and a lot of them, I said, Sunday night Earl and his crew did a good job. Saturday night wasn't bad, but it wasn't a normal Earl
Walls track.
Earl Walls racetrack. But we had rain for 12 days straight. Yeah. And I thought that they done a heck of a job just even being able to have it at all.
Yeah. Well, and something like that really puts the promoter in a bad spot because I was talking with somebody at the RC track. I race radio control cars, Chris. I don't know, like I say, I'm hoping you're watching this, but all these cars that are on the table, I race all these and have for like 30 years. But I was talking with somebody at the track last night, and they were talking about rough conditions at tracks and how the promoter's kind of between a rock and a hard spot because if he says no, you got a bunch of people and fans disappointed, but then if he says yeah and then cars get tore up, the racers are PO'd at him. So it puts them in a bad place.
Chris likes his racetracks different than I like my racetrack than the next guy.
Yeah.
We all got to race on the same one. And so, it's just, you just got to sit back and throw your best guess at it and see what sticks.
That kind of leads me right into the next question, Chris. This is a big one here. Did any of the locals give you any good information? I meant not, but any good information on how to help set up your car or how the track might go?
I talked to some of the modified guys a little bit and just asked them what was the tendencies. And everybody, it was kind of funny because everybody says, whatever you do, don't go high side in 1 and 2. Whatever you do, don't go on the high side 1 and 2. So for the longest time, I didn't go up there until late in the race, which you noticed in the video. I decided to try it, and it works. And I'm sure normally the 1 and 2 high side doesn't work, but for Sunday night it did. But I did talk to a handful of guys and ask them what they thought.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad. But probably wasn't any of the Lightning Sprint guys, though, was it?
No, sir. It was pretty much the modified and the stock car guys were telling me that.
Oh, okay. Well, we're getting ready to start the race here right now. Like I say, you'll be on about a 30-second delay, but it looks like you started outside of row 3.
Yes, sir.
Now, what were your plans here at the first part of this race? Were you thinking, hey, let's just see how this rides out and how it develops, or were you thinking, I better get up front and keep tabs of that guy leading?
No, it was just really, I mean, with all the cautions that we had, the night before, I knew that there were going to be cautions. There was no need to get to the front right away. So I just kind of wanted to settle in and kind of let the track do its deal. I never race, it's funny to say, I never race competitors. I always race the racetrack. I wait for the racetrack to come to my car, to come to my setup. And that's really what we were doing. And, just took it lap by lap, and I knew there was cautions, and when they came out, we tried to take advantage of them when we got a restart.
Yeah. Like I say, it looks like you're, so far here in this first 2 or 3 laps now, I have not seen you up any higher than halfway up the track. Was the top part of that just not suitable to run in?
I didn't feel like it was. You'll notice when we get later into the race, the 10 car, she was doing a great job. But we started getting in the lap traffic, and I got underneath her. And I just noticed I couldn't get by her. Everything I tried, I couldn't get by her running the bottom. And she was running about the middle of the track. So that was my first ding-ding moment where, there's got to be something up there if I can get through lap traffic.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Bobby, were you thinking the same thing? Of course, you were back there in the pack a little
I
further.
was just trying to go any place that there wasn't a car. So. And that didn't work out so good for me.
I was going to say, it makes a big difference running up there with the leaders than it does in the pack.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what happened to you? How did you qualify where you were? Just didn't have a good night?
I drew bad in the heat race, and I'd had a really good, there were a lot of good cars in the heat race. I started I guess 4th row in the heat race and got to 3rd, and that just kind of buries you.
Boy, those first 3 or 4 cars, though, Chris, looks like now I think you're up to 4th. Let me look here. 1, 2.
Oh, that
I think
one's
it's
a lap.
5th there.
4th, I think. You're up to 4th, I think, isn't he, Bobby?
3rd.
Yeah. I really thought the 3 car was going to put it on him here. The leader. You had a better view of it than we did. It just looked like that 3 was faster, but like he could run him hard into the corners, but he couldn't get him out of the corners, what it looked like to me. Is that the way it looked to you, Chris?
Yeah, the 3 was really fast. That's actually a good buddy of mine, Grant Sexton. And it was just weird because we get down into turn 1 and 2, and everybody kind of just parked down in the corners, running the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I was like, man, why are we just running so slow around the bottom? And I wanted to go to the top, and I kept, just testing a little bit at a time. And, eventually we were able to make the move.
Yeah. Well, we got a yellow flag here. But now, did you have any kind of particular strategy on the restarts either? Because with the field closing up and no lap traffic, or were you still just kind of in that riding it out position and just kind of waiting to see where things were going?
No, I knew that we were getting close to the end at this point. I wasn't sure exactly how many laps were left, but I knew I didn't see the 5-minute wait 5 to go, so I knew we still had a little bit of time. So I knew on the restart, I knew there was something in 1 and 2 at that point. So my goal when we hit, the restart, I was just going to sail it into 1 and 2, and hopefully it stuck. And fortunately it did.
Well, on this yellow flag that we've got right here, though, it looks like you're still kind of protecting your position. When the cars close up like that, is that kind of what a driver does, is just protect what you've got and not give anything away?
Yeah, it's a cat and mouse game for sure. You try to be close on the guy in front of you, but you don't want to give the guy behind you a chance that he can get a run on you.
Yeah.
So it's like that. It's a little bit of cat and mouse going there. But you always want to make sure you can better your position on the guy in front of you and not let the guy behind you better his.
Now, I think you just passed the 10 car there, I think.
Yeah.
Bobby, you're still back there looking for places to go?
Yeah, I'm still back there looking. I got up to about 8th or 9th and just, was boxed in there. And about right there's where I'm gonna break the drive chain here shortly. And I mean, you know, a lot of guys like stopping on the racetrack. I just got my ass in the infield where it belonged. It didn't cause a yellow. Chris might have liked to have the yellow, but he evidently didn't. And, you know, if you watch his car, it's doing everything perfectly. And he got it up there, and he wasn't bleeding his speed off like the other guys were, being clear down on the bottom. See, look at the run that he got there.
Yeah, this is
and
where
so he didn't have to accelerate his car up.
You probably haven't seen it yet, but you just kind of come up and touch the rear bumper of the 3 there that last lap. Now this lap here, you got up beside him, it looks like, and this must have been.
There's a little bit of a delay, but yeah, I'm seeing what you're talking about.
But this must be where you're figuring out that top side might work.
It is. We're just trying, just moving up ever so slightly each lap, and eventually you can move up there and send it. And I'll be honest with you, there wasn't much lifting when we got up to the top. I was pretty much wide open all the way around.
Well, that's what it looked like. Like you say, like Bobby said, you weren't scrubbing off any speed at all, or having to, you know, let off in the corners like they were down there, down on the bottom.
Yeah. And that's the thing about wing racing. You know, there's a huge debate between what's better, winged or non-wing. But I can tell you the secret with wing racing is you got to keep air on the wing. As soon as you drive it like a non-wing car, it just handles totally different. But if you can keep that air on the wing, it'll go around that corner.
Yeah. To be truthful now, the 12 car, the guy that was leading, there were times he looked invincible. I mean, like right here, Bobby, he's got a third of a straightaway lead on second place, and I'm thinking, well, this thing looks like it's over here.
Yeah, I just saw my car sitting in the infield there.
That's okay.
It's broke.
Yeah, you want to go back and see it again?
It's broke.
Yeah, shall we replay back to that point? But now, I think this is the yellow flag here that kind of changes the whole direction of this race after this, because it almost looked like, Chris, that you'd settled into third spot there, and were you coming to the reality that maybe that was going to be it for you?
I kind of thought so. That's like I said, we were getting into lap traffic at that point, and I wasn't sure. You know, I do think it would have probably been a different outcome if the yellow wouldn't have came out, but the yellow definitely helped us out tremendously.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go green here in a little bit, but that's kind of the way it was starting to look to me. I mean, of course, I'm just videoing the race, but you know, I got being a kind of a sort of a racer, I guess is what I want to say, racing these little cars. There's times that happen in the race where you think, well, I guess this is it. You know, this is as far as I'm going to go, and that's kind of what I was thinking. I thought, well, it looks like, because I really thought you had the car to do it, because the 3 just could not get around them corners.
Right.
And
well,
I'm thinking, I think he's maybe just decided third's going to do it for him. He's done as good as he's going to do.
Well, I think we always have a never give up attitude until that checker flag waves. I mean, I've been upside down, flipping through there, and I'm still trying to drive through the corner, thinking I can save it. You know, you always have that never give up attitude, though.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to drive any kind of a race car, it's got to have, you know, I'm going to run hard the first lap and the last lap. And see right there, that yellow flag, he moved up just enough to get out of that, and to get out off where he could keep his speed up. And see, if you watch, he doesn't bleed any speed off whatsoever, where the other guys were trying to stop and start.
And the car is fairly straight now. The rear end looks like it's hanging out just slightly.
Not bad.
But it's drifting perfect. Just drifting perfect.
Did it. I mean, Chris had us covered.
Yeah. As Bobby said earlier, we were talking before we actually sat down here at the table, and he said it happened just exactly the way that a racer wants it to happen. The track came to him, the car came to him, and he figured it out.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And once
you a lot of credit to my chassis builder though, Diablo Fabrication. It's only been 11 months since Michael Wagner's his name. Michael built his first car, and I had 001 chassis. And 11 months ago, I just came to him with a bunch of ideas that I wanted to try in a lightning sprint, and he made it happen. And now we've got 6 cars out there now. I have car number 6, and it's a long way that we've come in such a short time. Like I said, 11 months. We've got 2 championships, multiple wins.
Yeah.
And, I give a lot of kudos to him and his quality of work.
So you're kind of the R&D driver for Diablo? I can't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
That is correct, yeah. Diablo Fabrication and Design, yes.
But I say you're kind of the R&D guy.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's got to feel good.
Yeah, sometimes, as long as the stuff's working, but when it doesn't work, you kind of get frustrated and upset. But yeah, we've had a lot of success. I can't say anything bad about any of the stuff that we try or do. It's always a learning curve, and if it works, we're happy to share it with his customers, and keep this sport going.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what. You want to get some customers, just show them the video. Is what I suggest. You need to get a copy of this and have it in the shop there, at the frame shop or whatever.
We'll do it for sure.
After watching this video again and looking back through it, is there anything that you look back on and think, well, maybe I should have done this sooner? Which to me pops in my mind is you probably should have went higher sooner.
Yes, I would agree with you. I've probably watched this video 100 times now.
What?
Since the weekend. and I always watch it, not to, I guess make myself feel better, but I always watch it as a study. Playing football, that's what we used to do. You play a game, and then Monday through Friday, you kind of watch what you did or what you can improve on, and that's what I use the videos for. And yeah, there's a few things I think I could have done better, but in the end, we got the result that we were looking for, and I couldn't be any happier.
Yeah, the little gal here in the picture in orange or red or whatever, is one of those your wife?
That's my girlfriend.
Girlfriend, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's Kenna. She's a hoot. She's wild. I think she gets more excited than I do when we get victory.
I was going to say
that sounds like Carla.
The stadium announcer got got pretty tickled out of her down there because I could hear her screaming or yelling or whatever up there where I was shooting from, but I figured one of them had to be a close relationship, shall we say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you kind of told us about the car now. We know it's a I can't say
Diablo.
That. Diablo chassis, but tell us a little bit about who's your motor man and the shock package you're using, and any other thing that you want to include as supplier or whatever that helps you out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my engines, we're just running a 2017 through 19 generation Honda. Honestly, that motor came from a junkyard. I got it off of eBay out of Texas. This car went together so fast, we didn't even have the time to do a leak down test or a compression test. We got the motor. CFC Products, they build the oil pans that we put on them. So I put an oil pan and an injection from them. And, we put it in the car, and we ran it. We didn't take it to an engine builder. We didn't do anything to it.
Wow.
And then, it's been a great motor so far. Yeah. Shock package, I can't say enough about, Nick and Blake with Cage Suspension. Yeah. They have been with me now for, I think, 4 seasons. They're old NASCAR crew guys. Actually, Blake still works for Martin Truex's team and Joe Gibbs, and they do all the R&D on that kind of stuff, and it all kind of trickles down to us here in the local dirt track. So they do my shop packages. I can't say enough about those guys. And Accelerated Services Trucking, they sponsor this year as a primary sponsor. I can't thank them enough for what they've done, and Reese Enterprises and all those guys that just, they help us out with just little things here and there.
Yeah. I have to ask, what were your expectations going into this? By the way, we've got a cute little girl here in your arms. I presume daughter?
Oh, that's my granddaughter. Yeah.
Granddaughter. Yeah, cutie.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love your hat too, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
What were your expectations going into this race? Because you sound like you have raced a lot in the western part of the United States, but man, coming back here to the Midwest, I mean, we've got a rich tradition of racing in this area. And besides that, there were cars and drivers here, I heard, from Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, of course, Kansas, Missouri, I'm sure. But, you know, that's a whole new group of racers. When you started thinking about doing this, what were your thoughts? Where you thought, well, if I just get a podium, I'm good?
No, actually, anytime we hit the track, we know we have good equipment. We know that we have knowledge. You know, and as long as the driver's on key, then, you know, we go to win every weekend. That's our goal. We want to go win. We want to go, you know, establish our place with any track that we go to. So that's our expectations, is to go out and win. And of course, if we finish top 3 or whatever, you know, it's not a total disappointment. We're happy to be there, happy to be involved. But every weekend we go out, we go to win.
Yeah. Bobby, you got a question for Chris of any kind?
No, I just wish he could have found me a sprocket today, but and,
I didn't know they were that hard to, there's no local supplier to?
they're on national back order, and I'm
Well,
having a
that's-
trouble getting one.
That sounds familiar. Hobby store's kind of that way. We got a lot of stuff that they've just, I don't know if the suppliers quit making stuff during the COVID deal or what, but stuff's just hard to get all over the place. But anyway, Chris, man, I appreciate you taking some time out of your evening to sit down and talk with us. It's a real pleasure. I just wish I was doing this interview in Colorado Springs with you instead of here. I love it out there. I wanted to move out there at one time, but the missus just couldn't go along with that. Said it just wasn't going to happen, so it didn't. But that's the way things go. But are there any other people? I mean, I know how these race teams are. Man, it takes a bunch of folks to get this thing done. And are there any other people that you haven't mentioned yet that you'd like to mention as far as helping you out on this race team?
Well, yeah, obviously, you know, my girlfriend, Kenna, her dad comes out all the time. You know, he'll come here Monday, Friday, and work on the cars, get it ready. Joe Munger, Jason Duncan, Alex Frick, Deanna, all those people were a part of my team. And they were there this weekend. It was just great to pull off a win for those guys. Like I said, my sponsors, Accelerated Services, for them to come on board at such a late time in the season. They really wanted to come out and watch this race, and I wish they would have, but I think they'll come out to the next one. But I can't say enough thank yous to those guys.
Yeah. Well, like I say, congratulations on the win. I hate to say we always see the same people win all the time, because we don't. Even the lightning sprints around here, Bobby, you got to admit, are pretty
They're pretty
on a
equal.
level playing field right now, I think.
It's a pretty level playing field. And, you know, Chris can attest, if you transferred both nights straight into the main without going through a B, you
Yeah.
probably had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. The first night we were stuck in the B, you know about that, Bobby. So
Yeah.
Saturday night was not a good night for us, for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I had a decent night Saturday night, but then it turned around for Sunday, and it's just the way racing goes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Chris got it turned on at the right time, and he took the big wad of cash back to Colorado.
It was just enough to get us back home.
Just enough to get you home. I was going to say,
How many laps did you end up leading?
I think they gave me 25 through 30, so 5 laps.
5 laps. I was gonna
5
say,
laps?
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, about right, I would say, from what I remember. But anyway, like I say, Chris, congratulations. And I guess what we might add to this, Bobby, is Power Eye, CMS, both did a good job on this race.
They did, and for as much rain as we had going in, Earl and the crew did an excellent job of getting a racetrack that was raceable. I mean, Chris can attest, you know, like he said early in the interview, you know, there was more than one lane, and so you gotta thank them for all of their hard work. Power Eye giving us a level playing field, and I'm looking forward to it next year.
Either one of you guys can answer this because it just popped into my mind. Is there any other kind of nationals like this that happen like late in the season when the season's getting over, August or
Okay,
September?
we got I'm going to call it the Minnesota, North Dakota,
Windsota, or whatever they call
Minnesota or whatever it is.
it. With
No, it's not Wasota. It's the Minnesota
Oh.
lightning sprints. Is that what it is, Chris?
Yeah, it's actually called Minn Kota, and they're doing their summer shootout. Is what
Right.
they're on that
Which is,
event.
I'm going to call that a national event.
Okay.
And there's 4 races at 4 racetracks in 4
Wow.
days.
Wow. Wow. That'd be fun.
And it starts up, clear up almost on the Canadian border, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Like I said, 4 days, 4 racetracks, and they're all within 100 miles apart from each other. And the cool thing about that is Jason's putting up, a big purse. Basically, it's going to pay $750 to win. I think he said $150 to start all 4 nights. And there's lap leader money, which could be $100 a lap. But basically, he told me if a guy could go in there and win everything, all 4 nights, lead every lap, it would pay $10,500 for the winner.
Wow.
That'll be tough to do.
I was gonna say, that's
That'll
probably
be
unheard
real
of.
tough to do. But
Probably
I mean,
unheard of.
there's too many good cars and good drivers, and if a guy will go up there and win 1 or 2 of those, he can say that he had a good trip to the North Country.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Chris,
and they're throwing in a point deal. So it's not just each night is, so to say, separate. You could actually have points acquired throughout all 4 nights, and whoever has the highest points. There's another bonus, and I think that's $3,000 if you pull that one off.
Wow. Wow. I have to tell both of you, I have gained a new appreciation for lightning sprints. When I found out that you guys were running a second faster than the A-mods, I thought, you know what? It's some pretty tough stuff here.
But most of the time, like at I-35 and some of the other tracks, we're more than 2 seconds
Are you
faster
really? Oh, wow.
than the A-mods.
I didn't realize that. That is crazy.
These cars are fast.
Yeah, they are.
And they don't weigh anything, and they make lots of horsepower, and they get it all to the ground, and with the driver and the car at the end of the race, 950 pounds,
Yeah, that's a handful.
And with his 225 horsepower Honda that he's got. We all tell these lies, you know that. But
Oh, you're going to start rumors now, Bobby.
well, that's right. But how all these dyno guys work.
Yeah.
And but I mean, they're affordable race cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they are affordable.
Yeah.
I don't know what Chris give for his motor, but I know that
Turner's number.
I know the motor in my car, I spent less money on it, air freighted to Kansas City, than my little brother paid for his.
Mod motor.
Oh no, for his rocker arms.
For his rocker arms.
Yeah. I don't know what the Hondas run, but I bought the motor in my car air freighted to Kansas City for $2,100.
Holy smokes! Wow,
Wow.
that's a good one. Anyway, we've got to wrap this up, guys. We've got another guy waiting that we're supposed to be calling at 7:40. But Chris, like I say, thanks so much for taking some time out and calling in and talking with us. It's been a blast, and really have enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Mike. It's a great pleasure to meet you for sure. Bobby, you take care. I'm sure we'll talk to you soon about something, steering boxes or sprockets or something in the future. But I'd love to come back on anytime you'd have me, Mike. And thanks again for everything you do.
Man, you got it, Chris. It's been fun. Like I say, we've enjoyed it. You have a good night out there, and I don't know, say hi to the mountains for me, will you?
Will do.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, really down-to-earth guy from what I can tell.
Oh yeah, he's a heck of a guy, and I've raced with him several times, and done some, bought parts from him, and
Oh, really? Okay.
And I mean, you know, the the racing world is pretty tight-knit community.
Yeah.
And I've made some parts for him. I have bought parts from him, you know, and it's just we all kind of got to work together for the advancement of this.
Absolutely. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone and we'll get going here. Well, one old modified driver to another one. What what do you think about that, Bobby? We've got Bobby Lane here, by the way. Jesse Mulick, I hope I'm saying that right. Mulick couldn't make it, so Bobby has agreed to set in. But man, this guy won a few modified races, Shadron.
Yeah, I know it.
Just a couple.
In fact, he was probably in one of the very first modifieds to ever race on the track in Kansas City.
Actually, we didn't start racing modifieds here till the second year that they were here.
Yeah.
And at first, I wasn't really too excited about them.
Oh, really?
My brother John and Dad built one, and I went to the old lakeside and I went, "Whoa, this is fun!"
Yeah.
And it just kind of went from there.
Yeah. Kind of a mix. I guess the original inception of modifieds was kind of a cross between open wheels in the front and the rear wheels covered, so that we got both aspects of the sport.
Yeah, but it's kind of got away from that now. They just got late models that they forgot to put the front fenders on now.
There you go, Shadron. What do you have a reply for that?
Yeah, I'm sure Bobby could tell us better than anybody that they're probably two completely different ball games now.
Oh, they are. I mean, they're just night and day different. And the thing is that what you're doing, you've got it figured out for what the kind of racetracks that they're giving us today. You know, 30 years ago, we didn't have racetracks like this. What you're doing today absolutely wouldn't get through the first turn.
Yeah.
But today, my car that I was beating them up with wouldn't get out of the E feature, let alone into an A feature. And I mean, it's just the racing that we're doing today, the types of the racetracks that we have are so different, you know.
They're all hard,
I mean,
hard
when
to slick now.
when we would go to Riverside on Saturday night, we had to sneak into the car wash on Sunday morning because the guy would tell us to get out of there because we were going to leave too much mud.
Too much mud.
And that's not the way it is today.
Yeah, I was going to say hard and slick is kind of the word of the day for racetracks nowadays. It seems
Well,
like.
a lot of things have, and Chandran will probably agree with me. The cars, the tires, the shock packages, the spring packages have all led us down to approach pavement. And I think it's the big thing. And maybe Shadran will agree with me that the tires that they have today tend to slick up a track a lot quicker instead of digging in and knocking the tops off.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me?
I would guess so. The only thing I can say is that the tire that I'm on right now is the only tire I've ever ran.
Oh, okay. I need to get you in one of these lightning sprints one time, and then you would find out what a real race car tire is like.
Right, I've ran the American Racers and then the IMCA Hoosiers, and that's all I've ever been on. So,
Yeah, and they're totally different than what we had.
Yeah.
They were American Racer McCurry's, and they were a G60, but they're not even the same tire.
Same tire.
No, they're not even close.
Yeah. Well, Shadron, we've run through a few pictures here. I don't know if you're watching or not, but just tried to cover some of your younger days. And I think we've got one here up right now where you were the points champion at Thunder Lake in the go-karts.
Yep. We spent a lot of time go-karting it from the time I was 5 until 12, and it looks like 2010, the picture that you're showing there. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun and a lot of good times racing go-karts. So,
what were you doing in 5 through 12, Bobby?
Watching the world's best drive my brother's race cars.
Yeah. Okay.
The Judd Larsons and
Yeah.
the Gene Genetons and the Ray Lee Goodwins and those guys. I was around racing all of my life, and from the time that I was 5 years old, that's all I wanted to do was race. And I came from a generation that you couldn't even race a go-kart until you were 14.
Oh, really? Oh, my God.
No.
Wow.
And when I started racing when I was 16, I had to lie about my age, and my folks had to sign
a waiver or release.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were supposed to be 18.
Uh-huh.
And I just fell in right before. Previous to that, you had to be 21.
Yeah.
They backed the age requirements down when they put cages on.
Cages on them. Yeah. Of course, that also kind of goes back to the day where women couldn't go in the pits.
Yep, that's true.
Same thinking. But anyway, we're starting in on a series of pictures here now, Shadron, of some of the old race cars. Right now, we've got what looks like a almost perfectly white number 17. I'm trying to remember, was this 13 or 14?
that right there would have been my first year in 2012.
12? Okay.
And that would have been at Grain Valley because at the time I was 13, and that was the only racetrack that was letting me run that early. Of course, now anybody can run just about anywhere when you're that young, but that's where I started out my first year. So
yeah, well, we've got the first race started up here. Like, you'll be on about a 30-second delay probably, but first lap, man, you were leading it. But I'll tell you what, that guy in the, what was that, 1A? I can't remember what.
I think it's a 1BB, I think.
1BB, and what was his name?
His name's Matthew K. He's from down around the Humboldt area.
Okay. Boy, I'm going to tell you what, that boy gave you a race there now, didn't he?
Yeah, he was not scared, for sure. He was scaring me a little bit, but hey,
Yeah.
I mean, props to him. I don't think we touched the whole time, so it was good, hard racing.
Yeah, that red 17 didn't mean a thing to him.
No, he was going where he wanted to go.
I will have to say, I think it was probably one of the most entertaining B-Mod races I've seen. In that, he did what, about 5 or 6 slide jobs on you?
Yeah, it seemed like just about every lap until a couple of the last ones he was going after it.
And I don't know, Bobby. The only other person I've ever seen do anything like this was.
But see, the whole thing is that when he slid up there, he gave
Shadron some room.
Some room. He didn't just slide. You know, I'm the dude that invented the slide job, and you got to get clear by. It's okay to slide up in front of somebody.
There you go. Now he did it right there.
He did it right. He got clear behind. He didn't knock his left front wheel off of it. You know, that just infuriates me when somebody, oh, that's a slide job. No, that's a wreck job. You know, this guy was giving you plenty of room. You know, he wasn't sliding up there and making, you know, where 8 wheels are faster than 4. And I mean, yeah, this guy is doing it right.
Yeah. But this was entertaining, Shadron. I'm going to tell you what, this is a video guy's dream when you have races like this, where it just looks like it's every lap's going to be a challenge, and I was just thoroughly entertained. But of course, I was also thrilled that you held your own up. I mean, that's got to be a little nerve-wracking, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yep. It definitely keeps you on your toes when you can see somebody next to you for the entire race. But I don't know. I mean, that's like Bobby said. That wasn't a wreck job. That was kind of perfect. I'll have to put that in my notes for the next time I'm in second, I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, you. As long as you get by them, that's okay. But if you run down in there and you bank off of them, in my book, it's not.
Yeah.
And somebody to run down in the corner and get into the back of you, as one of the other celebrities, I shouldn't call it that, one of the other radio hosts in this town says that it's okay to use the chrome horn. I've been round and round with him for years on that. It is not okay.
That you might just be seeing it right now, Shadron, but that last lap, you took his line away there going away into 1 and 2. You cut him off to where he couldn't do that slide job. But man, he's right back at it.
Yeah, I had thought about it for a while, just taking his line there into 1 and 2, but I figured, of course, the first time I'd do that is when he'd go to the high side. But
get around, yeah.
Once we got there later in the race, I figured I better at least try it and to see what would happen instead of just letting him set me up for the ending there. So
yeah, you just did it twice. You cut him off down in 1 and 2 again, then you did it coming out of 4. But he's right back at it. Man, this guy don't give up.
Yeah, you got to give him that. That's for sure.
You know, you guys have kind of had a slow start to the year. Not a bad start, but you've had a slow start to the year. And I guess you're starting to work some of the kinks out of this deal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of feel like we've had a little bit of a slow start too, but at the same time, I guess when you call a lot of second place finishes a slow start, I guess that's a pretty good deal because we've been right up front there in position, and I think this weekend was the weekend when everything finally fell my way. So
yeah, and it looks like we got another car. Was that Cadwalder? I think since second
I think
now.
he ended up getting into second there.
Yeah, and he cut him off big time right there. But man, you're just pulling away. As Bobby was talking about, the guy in that last interview had his car set up right, man. I mean, it looks like you got 35 just about figured out.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of laps around there, so I think knowing how to drive a racetrack definitely helps, along obviously with the setup as well. But Tyler's been really tough this year. He's definitely got it figured out too. So it was nice to be able to get one there. That's for sure.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing about it was at I-35, I think there was like 4 different races, Bobby, and I couldn't figure out which guy I wanted to talk to about being on the show. And then after I thought about it for a while, I think it's got to be Shadron, the way you handled that race.
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't. He didn't get rattled.
Yeah.
He did everything correctly.
He did it right.
That's how you win races.
Yeah.
I thought that I was having a bad start to this year, but I ran 6 nights, won 1, run second twice,
Yeah.
and run third twice.
Oh, heck, that's one.
And a DNF.
A DNF. Yeah, that's not bad.
No,
Yeah.
I mean it's not been a terribly bad year, but when you're, it's true racers want to win. Want to win every night.
Yeah.
And if you run second or third, you kind of kick yourself in the pants and go home and work a little harder.
Yeah.
And what I found out over the years, and he's figured it out real damn fast. Chandra and Phillip figured it out real fast.
Yeah.
It's how much work you want to do. It ain't easy.
Yeah.
If it was easy, anybody could do it.
Absolutely. I got a question for you, Shadron. Does I-35 and CMS pretty much race the same way? I mean, the corner banking, car setup, stuff like that.
Not even
are they?
close.
Bobby says not even close.
Not even close.
No, we leave the same setup for pretty well every racetrack that we run, but as far as how you drive it, I mean, I'm just now starting to feel like I'm getting comfortable as a driver at CMS. I just don't have that many races there. But, 35s, long straightaways, higher banks, and tighter corners, and then CMS is, it kind of reminds me of the old Thunder Lake go-kart track. I'm just trying to make big circles.
I was wondering about that because from, let's say, fans' point of view or the way they see the track, they look kind of similar, although I know I-35's got the longer straightaways. But I thought the banking was pretty similar between the two. It's not then.
No, it's not. I-35 has got steeper banks. With the long straightaways, the cars that I'm racing now, they take different gearing, they take different wing angles, different staggers on the back. You can't run 7 or 8 inches of stagger up there. It kills your straightaway speed.
Right.
But they drive different. I mean, they just, and Chandran can probably attest that how you drive I-35 does not work at CMS.
Yeah.
And how you drive at CMS doesn't work at I-35.
Yeah.
It's just a different deal.
Yeah, so you go into that with a different mindset than when you're racing at CMS.
Right, yeah, you just kind of have to go out there and hot laps and kind of get yourself adjusted to what you need to do as a driver at CMS, to where, like I say, I run 35 so much that when you go there, I know how I'm going to do things and whatnot, and when I go out for CMS, you kind of have to forget about some of those things and remember some of the things you learned from your last trip there. So,
well, whatever you remembered worked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to have to remember a lot from last week.
Because you're already here, and it seemed like the restarts, of course, the same way at I-35. Well, now that's not true because you didn't pull away from that guy quite so much up there because he was sliding you all the time. But every restart there at CMS, man, I mean, you just pulled away.
Yeah, I know that in the driver's meeting and stuff, they kind of tell you exactly how they want you to do it at CMS. So I just kind of tried to obey the rules and take off when they wanted me to take off. So 35, you can play a little bit more of changing whenever you want to start and things like that. So
I was going to say, you can start anywhere in 3 and 4 I-35, what I remember.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I picked up on during your interview in the winner's circle at CMS was you mentioned Chris Jackson. And I know you and him have been communicating quite a bit. He is one of the best B-mod drivers in this part of the country. He's sharing information with you, I take it?
Yeah. Chris has a business where he helps guys out, and he's been nothing but great to me personally. He's an awesome guy, and obviously, like you said, he wins a lot of races, and he's just super smart, super sharp, and just I think he treats people how they need to be treated when you're running a business. And really, I was talking to somebody this weekend. It doesn't, when you're talking to him, it doesn't feel like you're talking to somebody that you're a customer for. You seem like you're friends with him. So, and he's actually getting ready to start building his own chassis. So I guess his business would be called J2 Race Cars now. But yeah, Chris he's a great guy.
Yeah. Boy, that's the kind of relationship you want with a tech guy or whatever, is somebody that instead of talking down to you is talking with you.
Right. He never makes it seem like he's just trying to get off the phone and on to the next guy. He'll take all the time in the world, and I mean, heck, I tell people a lot of times he'll race somewhere else and win, and he'll call me on his way home.
Really?
There's a lot of guys that would just be worried about the fact that he just won a race, and a lot of times he's worried about calling and seeing how people like I did.
Well, so far with the way things are going right now, it seems like to me that kind of like what we talked with Chris Crowder about, in that every time you show up for a race, you got to be thinking, I got a shot at this when you get there. Is that kind of your mindset right now?
Right, yeah, it is. It's something that I've wanted for a long time, and like I say, it feels really good to be able to think that way, that wherever I show up at, I expect myself to be able to compete. Just like Bobby said, us racers, we want to be able to win every time we go out, and it feels good to realistically think that I have a shot whenever I'm there. So, like I say, with Chris's help, thanks to him, I feel that confident whenever I show up. So.
Yeah, what's the use of showing up if you don't think you got a shot at it?
I got a question for you, Chandron. Is there anything missing from your race program that you wish you had? Other than a bushel basket full of $100 bills.
Right. Yeah, I think everybody could use those. But I owe all of this to my dad. First of all, I would not be racing without my dad. So I can't sit here and tell you that I need this or I need that, because without Dad I wouldn't have anything. So, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really feel like we've got what I need to win races, and we've kind of always had a deal with our program where we're not the type of people that can just go out and spend a lot of money all at once, but just slowly year after year, there's a few things we want to get, and after, I mean, geez, it's almost been 10 years of me racing B mods now. You just slowly build your program up, and hopefully we can just keep slowly moving it in a direction that'll just make us better.
Yeah, you got to have that equipment, kind of a reservoir, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't gather all the stuff that I've got in 10 years. There's stuff that I've got that I've had for 40 years. And, I mean, and it's just, you can't just, people that I've seen over the years that come in and they throw bushel baskets of money at stuff, they don't stay long. They get tired of spending money. Guys like Chandron, myself, when we got there, we watched how we spent our money. We didn't spend it foolishly. Sometimes you got to spend a little more to have a part that's going to last longer, and to where you can continue on. And guys like Chandron and myself, we're going to be around a long time because we spend our money wisely.
Yeah.
Don't you feel that way? You spend your money wisely?
Yeah, I mean, you have to in racing. It's like you said, whatever you can do to get the durability out of things is big when you're not somebody that can just spend a lot of money at once. I've learned to do my best to respect my equipment, because there's been a handful of times growing up racing where you tear something up or whatever, and you have to sit out for a little while, and you learn really fast that it ain't no fun sitting out. So
I wish more people had your attitude like that. There's too many people racing today that they don't respect your equipment, my equipment.
Right.
You know, if and I have a problem with that, but when I watched that guy, when that guy was running door to door with you, and you guys never touched, that's two guys that respect everybody's equipment.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's that's the goal, man, is to be able to race as hard as you possibly can without tearing anything up. Because I understand, for a lot of people, I'm sure it's hard, and you're in the moment, and you can sometimes forget about that mentality. But just me personally, it's a lot harder to watch everybody else race the following week. Sometimes you gotta back out of the gas, and you might be on the ride home thinking, dang, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. But sometimes you knock the right front off your car or something, and you think, man, was that really worth it?
Yeah. I have to ask you, that win you had at I-35 Saturday, is that one of those that you're going to remember for a while? Because I will. That had to be, I think, one of those that you appreciate, that that you raced well, you did well, and you did it right. And to me, those have got to just stand out in your mind. Is that true?
Yeah. It was a good race, but really, to be honest with you, man, I'm so early on in this, and everything. I can't really sit here and say that I've forgotten a lot of my wins, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? They're all special to me. So, heck, even like at CMS, that's definitely really special to me. There, I've probably only ran CMS 10 to 12 times, but that's the first time I won there. So really, that one will stand out to me quite a bit too. So.
A fantastic run, Shadron. That's all I can say. It left me kind of with my mouth open a little bit. I thought, man, this guy has got it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. With this team just being you and your mom and dad, you must really have to plan out your time, especially since you've added the stock car to your program. Yeah.
I need to, first of all, thank John and Beth Bowler for letting me drive that stock car, but yeah, it's, we've got a lot on our plates. It's as Bobby knows, taking care of one race car is enough work. But so far we haven't ran the stock car quite as much as the B mod, so everything's been pretty smooth so far. But hopefully things don't get too hectic. But right now I'm just having a blast being able to run that here and there, and take care of the B mod, and of course take care of my first love there too. So.
What's your plans for the future? Where would you like to see? Where do you want to go in the next 5 years? Late model racing, sprint car racing, A mods. Where do you think you're headed?
Man, I truly couldn't tell you. If we're going to talk about something I would dream about, I would love to race a dirt late model. But just honestly, looking at knowing what our budget is and stuff as a team, man, I don't see any reason to get out of the B mod class, and I don't see any reason to stop racing a stock car if I have the opportunity to do so. I think those are two pretty affordable and probably some of the most competitive classes. And I've actually ran an IMCA modified for 1 year. But an A mod would be cool too. I'd love to drive one if the opportunity was given to me. But man, really just doing it on our own. The B mods have just as many or more cars on any given night and are just as competitive. And we don't have to go out and spend the money that some of those guys do on motors and whatnot. So I really I feel comfortable where we're at, and of course, you're as a racer, you're always open to any options. But as far as what we're doing, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Okay, with local racing, kind of the thing that you're going to be able to do budget-wise and every way else, what do you have a favorite track? I mean, if you had a choice, I know you seem to be really tuned in and dialed in up at I-35. I mean, to me, that seems like that'd be the one you wanted to run.
Yeah. To be honest, man, I just like going to any dirt track. I mean, obviously, like you said, I-35 has been good to me, and I would probably lean towards there. But I don't know. I mean, really, to be honest, anywhere that I can win is my favorite track. So maybe CMS is my favorite track now.
I just have to ask, too.
My favorite track is anything that's dirt that's kind of in a circle.
There you go.
That sounds good. I like that. I agree.
Yeah, I like that track too.
Is there any possibility, speaking of Chris Jackson, that you might make it down there to Lebanon Midway? I don't know if they're going to have that big B-Mod show down there this year or not, but of course Jake Richards went down there and cleaned their plow last year. And any chance you could get down there with a little coaching from Chris Jackson and run that B-Mod Spectacular or whatever it is they call it? I mean, the best of the best are down there, man. This, be a chance for you to see how you stack up.
Yeah, Chris has been on me about coming down to Lebanon sometime, and I'd like to. It looks like a fun little racetrack, but it's just quite a ways away from St. Joe. But maybe we'll make it down one day. But the last couple years, their big B-Mod show deal that they've been having is on the same weekend that we go up to Super Nationals.
Oh.
And now I'll be running the stock car up there. Yeah. So it's kind of been a, maybe if one day we don't go to Super Nationals, I'd for sure want to go down there. So.
Yeah, it's a really neat race. They, like I say, the best of the best are there. And for one of the Kansas City guys to get down there and win that Bobby, I thought was just exceptional, because that racing down there around Springfield, Lebanon, southwest Missouri, man, there's some tough guys down there.
It don't get any tougher than right here in Kansas City. It doesn't. I mean,
Well, you proved that, 30 years ago?
Well, I mean, I've raced all over the country.
That's what I mean.
And beat the best of the best when they were on top of their game plan. And, but, Kansas City, people that come out of this area have always been, tough to beat. And Bob Kosiski said it the most, the best that I'd ever heard. The promoters welcomed out-of-towners here. They didn't shun them away. And so the Kosiskis of the world was racing here.
Yeah.
And in 1978, I raced against Doug Wolfgang, Shane Carson, and Butch Barr every Friday night.
Yeah.
And so the best of the best was here. And that's when you get better.
That's when you get better. I was going to say, I don't know how many times I've said it on this program, but you race up to the level of the people you're racing with.
Exactly.
If you don't, you lose.
Pretty much.
It's kind of that simple. But anyway, Shadron, I hope you work that out to get down there sometime. I know Chris would probably really enjoy it, and I know you would too. And you probably fit right into the bunch down there.
Yeah, I hope so. Like Bobby was talking about, that's definitely, really, to be honest, you can't really go anywhere and not have a tough field of B-Mod. So, especially go to a race like that, I'm sure it would be, I'd have my work cut out for me, that's for sure.
Yeah. How old are you, Shadron?
I'm 22 now.
22. All right.
Damn, I wished I was 22 years old again and know what I know now. Boy, would I be dangerous.
I'll ask you this. Well, I'll ask both of you, but I'm going to ask Bobby first, okay? Shadron, I'm going to ask Bobby this question first, all right?
Okay.
Bobby, at the end of the day, what is it that you're going to take away from racing? Is it going to be the competition? the friends that you made, the goals that you achieved?
I would say at the end of the day, it's going to be all the great people that I have met across this great country. Just like earlier today, and with this program, I am friends with Chris Crowder. If we would have been if the guy from California, Grant Sexton, would have won it, I'm friends with him. And so, and all over the country, I've made such good friends and met so many great people that's what I'm going to take away from this.
Yeah.
I try to give back all I can. I've got Carla's son, Jeff, he's my bonus son. I hate that step word. So he's my bonus son. And we got him going now. And Mikey too. And trying to maintain 3 race cars is a pretty tough deal.
Yeah, I bet.
And he's figuring out that 2's going to be a tough deal.
Yeah. We've got a picture of the second car up there right now, Shadron, and I know I talked to you, I think, up at 36 there one night, and I asked you how you liked it, and you said, it's a ball. I love driving them.
Oh, yeah, them things are an absolute blast. I think I got in it for the first time a couple of years ago. John let me run it one time, and, man, they are a lot more fun than they look. Let me just tell you that, and they look fun, too, if that tells you anything. So I was definitely surprised whenever I got in it, and I'm just having a blast with it, trying to learn, and really thankful to be driving that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now I kind of run by that question. I wanted to ask you the same thing at 22 years old. When you're Bobby's age here and you've been racing for 30, 40 years, at the end of the day, what is it you think you're going to be taking away from racing? Was it just going to be the competition that you had over the years, friends you made, or the goals that you achieved, or anything else? Or just the time you got to spend with your mom and dad, if nothing else?
Right. I think I would have to agree with Bobby. Whenever, being 22, it's really easy for me to be solely focused on my goals, and, we're working hard all the time to get faster, and, wanting to be, the best, and you're just in that moment of trying to achieve things. But really, if I sit back and think about it, we're all just doing this for fun. So I've met a lot of people in racing that, that I wouldn't know because of racing. If it wasn't for racing, I wouldn't know them. So at the end of the day, if I wasn't racing anymore, I would still have all those friends and people that I've met through racing. So I would say that's probably the thing I'll look back on. And like you said, also being able to spend time with mom and dad on the weekends, because they sacrifice a lot of time for me my whole life, pretty much, taking me racing. So I think those are the things I'll look back on and realize that those were the best times out of everything.
I'm kind of like Bobby. I've got to spend a lot of my golden years doing it, and it's been a blast. That's all I can say. It's been a blast. Shadron, I appreciate you taking some time. I know, like you say, with those 2 cars, you guys are busy. But just one last thing, who are some of the people that you'd like to thank for helping you out and getting you to the track?
Like I say, first and foremost, mom and dad. And then my great sponsors. I've had a lot of these sponsors for the majority of the time that I've been racing. So 54th Street Grill and Bar, Milliken's Lawn and Landscaping, Falling Star Ranch, and Milliken's and Falling Star Ranch, they're more friends than they are sponsors, which is cool. And then I've got my dad's business, St. Joe Auto Fabric, here in St. Joe. We do upholstery work on automotive and boats and things like that. And then J2 Race Cars, Chris Jackson, like I said, he's been an absolute dream to work with. And then I need to thank John and Beth Bowler for letting me drive the stock car. Buller Motorsports, Lake Road Warehouse, Napa, Brilliant Graphics, all the people that are on his race car, Jet Racing, all that stuff. So I feel very fortunate to be able to drive those two cars, and I definitely don't take it for granted, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, Shadron, like I say, thanks a lot, man, for giving us some time. And, man, you're getting to be really fun to watch race. That's all I can say.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I really do. When I see the red 17, I know I'm going to be in for a treat, whether you're first, fifth, or whatever. I know you'll be trying like hell to get up there. And, that's what racing's all about. And I think that's what race fans appreciate.
It sure is.
The effort. Plus, I know what goes on behind the scenes with you and your family, and, how much you guys put into it. But anyway, thanks for taking time with us.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for the kind words, and you guys have a good night.
All right, you too. Take care.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye. Well, Bobby, 2 winners, man.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
yeah. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But when you pull through the gate, you think you're going to. And, I have always felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
I do every time I go to the racetrack. Sometimes you don't, but you do go to win.
Uh-huh.
And the day that I get in my mind that I can't win
Hang 'em
will
up.
be the day that I quit.
Yeah, that's you just exactly what.
And I can still, I can still win races. I can, and so as long as I can do that,
Yeah.
run right there where I'm more than competitive,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to continue
Yeah.
on.
You sound like me. That's what I say about RC racing. When I feel like I ain't got at least a shot to win, at least a shot,
Got to have a shot.
got to have a shot, then the race cars will be for sale.
And it's like with me. I mean, if it gets to the point, if I go do my job correctly,
Mhm.
I set my car up right,
Mhm.
I drive it correctly, and the day that I think that I can't do that any longer, that's the time when it's to say
Yeah.
no more.
Yeah, no more. I agree. You have any closing comments here tonight from what
Now, I had a
we've
ball
done?
here tonight with everybody. I need to look up Chandron and because I've never really met him,
Uh-huh.
and have a good conversation with him to see,
Uh-huh.
and kid sounds like he's got his head screwed on
Absolutely,
straight.
absolutely.
He's got a good attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll go far in the racing world. I hope that he can find sponsors and that stuff so he can go on up the ladder.
He's been doing real good with that so far.
And it appears that he has, and keep his sponsors happy,
Yeah.
and and make sure that he promotes these sponsors and all of that, because at the end of the day, it's not how well you can drive a race car when it comes to a sponsorship. It's how well you can represent
Them.
their brand, their
Uh-huh.
business.
Uh-huh.
Because at the end of the day, it's advertisement for them to make sales.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got to have the sponsors. I mean, racing has just gotten so far out of hand that you've got to.
I foresee big when in the late 80s or the early 80s, we saw big changes in racing. And I think we're just about to do it again.
Yeah.
I think that the all racing has priced themselves out of business.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I don't know what it will be. We've got to get back to running these, call it stock cars. What Chandron is driving today is not a stock car. They can say whatever they want to say, but it is not a stock car. And we've got to get back to where we got to face it. What they're racing there is all used up. You know, they haven't made the frames in those cars since 1988.
Right.
It's gone.
Yeah.
The small block Chevrolet, as you and I know it, other than an aftermarket that has not a piece from GM, they're gone.
And say they're about out of style.
They're gone.
Non-existent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've been used up. So I hope the rules makers and the racing people start getting their heads together and figuring out how we can utilize the stuff that's out there, out of the salvage yards.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we have for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And most people today don't know where these terminologies came from, and it's like nobody knows. Late model. Well, what's a late model? Well, when they first came out, they were something that was newer.
They were almost like that, only with a different body.
No, they were out of this. They were a 10-year-old car. They were, when they came out with the late models.
Yeah.
It was a late model vehicle, which was a '57 Chevrolet. And when they came out with the modified cars, they had a nice set of rules, and now they've got them in such a tight box that it's when you get into such a tight box, it promotes spending money to go racing.
Yeah.
When you've got that box open, then the mind can go to work instead of the wallet.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, we're going to have a program on this someday, and I want you to come back for that, because I think all of your views are very interesting and cover such a large time frame.
Yes, they do.
You've got a lot of experience and knowledge in it, and I want you to come back and we'll talk about that, and we'll get maybe 2 or 3 other guys and kind of talk about this. Okay?
Sure.
All right.
I'd love to do that.
That sounds like fun.
I do not want to see local racing die.
Yeah. No
Ever.
kidding. None of us do. Yeah.
And if we don't,
some changes aren't made, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I got you.
There's
several things I can say about that.
Okay.
Because I've
had a great time tonight,
Yeah.
and I'll get off my soapbox, and we can wrap this thing up.
All right. And we're going to do that, folks. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. For me and Bobby, it's been a blast.
Absolutely.
I have enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun talking with Chris Crowder, the winner of the Power Eye Lightning Sprint Nationals at Central Missouri Speedway last Sunday. Great race. And then Shadron Turner, two-time winner this weekend, I-35 Speedway, and also down at CMS Sunday night also. But as we always say, hey, if you like the show, tell you what, call somebody, let them know. Just give them an idea of what we're doing here. We're just talking about racing, having a good time, laughing a little, enjoying it, having a few pictures and doing whatever. If you didn't like the show, we understand that too, because we probably didn't have your favorite driver on this week. And that's okay too, because we can't have everybody on at one time. And we try to pick and select different people so that we can cover a wide range of racers in racing, so that you folks can get to meet them and find out what they're like. The more I'm around Bobby, the more I know what he's like, and he knows what I'm about. So, that's kind of where the way it works. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. Hope you all have enjoyed the show. As I always say, check us out on Cheeseworks videos during the week, and I usually try to have it up by 10 o'clock Thursday morning. on who's going to be on the show, and that way, if you want to watch, you can tune in and watch. If you don't, that's okay too, because we know, you got other things going on. But that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thanks again, Bobby, for
Thank
setting
you for
in,
having me.
especially for both sessions. I appreciate that. We got Greg out of town. Oh, by the way, he reminded me today, I talked to him on the phone, and he said to make sure and mention Cody Baker. I guess Cody Baker was in a car accident on the way home.
Actually, he had a motorcycle.
Oh, motorcycle.
And he went down on it, and I haven't heard any more. I knew that he was
in the hospital.
That he was in the hospital, and I haven't heard any more of his condition or anything like that.
Yeah, but anyway, you folks think about Cody and whip out a prayer there for the guy, and do all we can do here, what we're doing. But that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I say, check back on Cheeseworks, and you'll see what's going on. That's all I can tell you. Have a good night. Thanks again, Bobby.
Thank you.